All right, we got a quick and easy video today. So if you watched our lighting video, you know that I've got these little plant babies in the window here, and they have gotten real leggy, out of control. So rather than just tossing these babies, what I'm actually going to do is try to save them and get them looking a little bit better. So let's take them downstairs for a little surgery. All right, so to begin trying to save these babies, there are two factors that I'm really going to be focused on. The first one is getting these repotted so that some of those long, lanky stems are covered. And so what I'm going to do is basically just follow our process for potting these up. And that consists of grabbing a larger seed cell. So these ones are about 6 inches. And then we'll fill it about 1/3 of the way up with some soil. Always put the camera so I have to do it left-handed. Gotta learn not to do that. I'm gonna give it 3 turkey bases down at the bottom here, and then some more once we've popped it in. Next up is getting these babies in there. Now we want to be really careful with them because they are a little bit longer and lankier. It's gonna be a little bit easier for them to break, so just be real careful with these ones. All right, so these are coming right out of the soil. First one's going in. There we go. Second one going in right next door to your little friend, a numero 4. All right, so now I want to cover as much of those main stems as possible. I'm going to come in on this one side here and then just give it a little bit of a shake. Slide these around. Curious to see if all 4 of these kale babies make it or not. And then I like to just gently compact the soil so that they're in there nice and secure, as opposed to kind of falling all over the place. Okay, and I'm gonna leave them just like that for right now. So let's move on to our next one. And for the tomatoes here, I'm actually going to use these here because they're a little bit taller than these babies over here. So 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and break these 2 onto one side and the other 3, leave them on the other side. So all that I need to do is pop upside down, sliding out of there. I should have pre-moistened this, but I didn't. Okay, and then we got those 2 on that side, and so all that I'm doing is coming through here and just right down Main Street. Not so bad. I'll pop that guy in there. I'll actually slide this one just over here so we can have this one here, and then I'm just gonna pop this baby in. And this is where we really want to bury as much of that stem as possible. Okay, and now I'm going to backfill with seedling mix. Okay. See how much of that stem is now covered in there? Woo! That's what we like to see. Compact that down a bit. Careful with the stems. Babies are looking happy. A little more seedling mix. All right, now we're cooking. Beauty. All right, so they're not looking as tall and leggy anymore. And as they grow in here, I'm gonna be able to fill that up with a little bit more soil to bury even more of the stem that shows up. And so we've taken care of the legginess issue, but we haven't taken care of the lighting problem just yet. So the last thing that we're going to do today is just pop them underneath the grow lights in my seed starting station. Okay, so we've got them now in the seed starting station, and right next door we've got the same kale plants and tomato plants started on the exact same day, but that have been underneath these lights the whole time and clearly thriving. So let's hope that these ones start going in that direction. And so what we'll do is we'll fast forward now a couple weeks to see how they're doing. Alrighty folks, it is 14 days since we potted up the leggy seedlings. Let's take a look, see how they're doing. Oh baby, got some happy campers. Okay, so our babies are happy here. And what I want to do today is just make 3 observations before we wrap up the video here. And so the first observation is simply that they're really, really happy with their new homes. And when I mention their new homes, that means both the new seed cells that they're in and that we're able to bury a lot of the stem on each of them, as well as being underneath the grow lights here. And so on that front, what we can see is that none of these plants are leaning over to the side, anything along those lines. They're just growing vertical. And so what that means is that now all of the energy is going into foliage growth, which is of course what we want. So seeing that they're not leaning over towards the light source anymore, that's our indication that they now have sufficient light. Now the second observation is that, remember, our kale and our basil, we planted those a little bit deeper down, leaving a couple of inches towards the top. And so what I want to do real quick here is just add a couple inches of seedling mix. And so beginning with our kale, all that we need to do is pinch off some of the lower leaves here. And there's a few lower down that I'm going to use some scissors on here. And then I'm just going to add that seedling mix directly onto the top there. Beauty. And same thing with the basil. Amazing. And voila. So with that extra bit of worm casting seedling mix, these plant babies now have kind of all the security and support around them. They've got the nutrients, they've got the microbes, and they've got a really great light source. So they are off to the races, which brings us to our third and final observation, which isn't so much about the plants, but rather the process. And that's just simply that was really straightforward. That was really easy. And now they are in an amazing position. So if you do have leggy seedlings, I really encourage you not to give up on them, but rather get them into a larger home with some new seedling mix, bury some of that stem so they're nice and secure, and get them underneath a really good light source. And if you do that, then they're going to be just like this, off to the races and absolutely thriving. So folks, that's everything that I wanted to cover off on for today. If you're curious to learn more about starting seeds indoors, then click on this tile up here, which is our whole playlist on everything that we've published around starting seeds indoors. And if you have any questions, leave those down in the comments and I'll get a response to you super quickly. But that's all for today. Go get those hands dirty and I'll catch you soon.